I feel like I look bald, but my hair's in a bun. Okay, I need to hurry and get this book haul out of the way because my bookshelves look empty. I have like 3 different stacks of books here. I did the math and I actually hauled 50 books this month. It was actually by accident. Like usually when I go accidentally buying like 90 books, like I was very aware by the time I got there was like 90 books, but like I literally sat here. I did not think I bought that many books. It's mostly because I bought so many classics. I will say I am proud of myself because a majority of these books I've already read. So I am going to be able to explain to you guys like what most of these books are about. Let's just get started. Ugh, I'm so ready. Okay, so this book, The Astrology of You and Me, I bought months ago, and every time I needed to do a haul I would forget about this book. So this book is just like about like relationships, like how do you act when you're in a relationship with like a certain sign, like friends and family and love, and friends, family, work, and love. I don't really need it for work, so I mostly just use it for friends, and it also just helps me get to know astrology a lot more. I'm not like really into astrology. Like I'm not gonna be like, ugh, you're a Gemini, don't talk to me, or anything like that. Like I'm not gonna be like, you're a Gemini, that's why you act like that. I'm not like that kind of person. There's nothing wrong if you are. I just think it's interesting. Like I like zodiac signs, and I like space. I love space, and I love like the planets. So, and I like learning about how the planets affect people, and it's just like, it's so interesting to me because people really don't think that astrology is real, and that's fine whether you think it's real or not. But it's very interesting because the moon controls the tides. Why wouldn't the planets be able to control like emotions and how people act? Like skeptical people. Anyway, so up here, I think this is the only book that I have new up here. So I have the plot, which I got from watching Gabby from Gabby's Read. Her and Katie Colson did a live stream in May, and it was so much fun watching. Like they need to go live again together because it was so much fun. And then they just did reading sprints, and when we got to like the talking part, when you know you're not doing the sprints, Gabby talked about this book, and she said this book was about this teacher who had this student who was like really annoying, like couldn't stand the student, but the student told them the idea of this plot and of a story, and he thought it sounded like really good. And then a few years later he hadn't heard about anything about the book, and he was just confused because like it's a really good plot. So then I think he probably like looks up the kid or something. I don't know, I haven't read the book. So, and then he finds out that the kid is actually dead, so he steals the plot to the book. And like, even I guess it's a thriller, but even if it's not, like it just sounds really good. Like, so I got A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe because I am really into sci-fi recently. As of like what, March, I've been really into sci-fi. So I read a sci-fi book this month. I'm gonna talk about it later. It's somewhere down in the hall, in the pile down there. But I read another sci-fi, and it was like an alien sci-fi, so I kind of want to read more of a space sci-fi. I mostly have space sci-fis. I don't really have any first contact alien sci-fis like that, although I would like more. But this one is a space one, and I just remembered Jess from Jess Nevertheless talking about this book. And when I first got into when I forgot, like I remember her talking about it, but I somehow came across this book, and I was like, oh yeah, Jess from Nevertheless talked about this. So I went to go look at like her video review, and then I think she wrote a review. I read that, and I was like, okay, I buy this book. So I don't really remember what this is about, but it's a trilogy. I got The Midnight Bargain, which I don't remember why I bought this, but it's a YA fantasy, and the cover is so gorgeous. Like, just look at how pretty. Like, this is one of the prettiest books I've bought so far. Over the Woodward Wall, because this is written by Shauna McGuire, but her pen name is A. Deborah Baker. And I love Middle Game, and this kind of has like ties to Middle Game in a way, but I bought it because the book gives me Gravity Fall feels and Over the Garden Wall feels. So I really want to read it just based off of that. It is a middle grade, and I don't really read too many middle grades, but it just seems really It just seems really fun. But I guess there's about 2 kids. They aren't siblings or anything. They live on the same street, but they live very different lives, and they somehow go over this wall. And it just gives me like fairy tale vibes, basically. I've been reading a lot of like fairy tales this month and like reading into a lot of fairy tales. So then I have The Unexpected Everything, which I am currently reading. I'm only like 1 chapter in. Last month I really got into YA romance again, and I started reading like a bunch of like old YA romance. If you want to hear more about that, you can check out my May wrap up where I read 40 books, and most of the books I read are in this haul. So yeah, I read Since You've Been Gone and I really liked it, so I picked up The Unexpected Everything, and only 1 chapter in, but so far it's pretty cool. Next, I'm just gonna do my classics so I can get those out the way. So I have this edition of Emma. This is the Mary Olin Baskin illustrated edition. I'm pretty sure if you just type in Jane Austen Emma Illustrated or Emma Illustrated, these will pop up. There are 3 different of these editions out right now. There's Pride and Prejudice and Jane Eyre. And then October, Sense and Sensibility and Wuthering Heights will be coming out. And so these just have like, it's just so pretty. Like they have like notes on the inside. This is actually the edition. I listened to the audiobook of Emma, but this is the one that I read along with. And it just has like little notes inside. It has like, the notes are more so about Jane Austen than the book though. So it's like they have like a newspaper clip of when Jane Austen released Emma. It has like a letter after she released it. Yeah, so I watched Emma twice in May and I loved it so much, so I read the book and I love the book. It's 5 stars. Emma Woodhouse is one of my favorite people in the world. Maybe because like Emma and Cher from Clueless are like the same person, and I loved Clueless growing up. Like that was always my movie, and so Emma is like that but a period piece, and it was just so good and I ate it up. So I have 2 Penguin Classics books. I bought Frankenstein. My friend Sen, her Twitter is I Love Twilight. She loves Frankenstein and we FaceTime every so often. Last time we FaceTime, I ended up reading like Shakespeare. She likes Shakespeare, she likes classics, she loves Frankenstein. She has so many editions of them and I like just adore her bookshelves. So we were talking about like classics one time and she really just got me into like wanted to actually read them and like them, and I really actually do like classics. I read a bunch last month and I own all these classics now. In May I do plan to read Persuasion, which is this one. I watched all of Jane Austen's films and I'm going to be reading her books over the next course of a few months so I can rank them. I really like Persuasion. I like Emma first and then Persuasion. I like the story of Persuasion. I watched like the 1995 version, I think, because it had the cuter love interest, but I wasn't particularly fond of the story. But they are doing a Persuasion remake with Dakota Johnson, so this might be for me. But I like the story of Persuasion. Just like, it's basically about this girl who is supposed to marry this guy, but her parents tell her, well, her friend comes to her no because he doesn't have a lot of money, so he goes away and then he comes back and it's a lot of angst and like pining and like jealousy, which I love. And so I cannot wait to read this one, and it's pretty short. And then Frankenstein I read in high school, but I didn't particularly enjoy it that much, so I do want to give it another chance because I didn't really read it in high school. I read like 1 chapter and I was like, this shit is boring, and I just never finished it. Anna Karenina, which I don't know if I really want to read this or not. I bought it because I was like, I watched the movie. I watched the first half of the movie. I really liked it, and then I finished the movie. Well, I didn't finish it, but I watched more of the movie, and I don't like people cheating on people, but I'm gonna finish the movie because I seen this Tumblr scene and I was like, ugh, it was, somebody posted a scene on Tumblr and I was like, maybe I need to finish this movie. It was like the scene where Anna Karenina and the love interest, not her husband, the love interest, were like sitting in this park and they were just like, you know. It was like a little picnic scene. I'm gonna have to finish it, but this book is thick. I'm also bought it because I want to read Anna K, and Sin suggested that I read the classic and then watch the adaptation. So, or read the classic then read the like retelling. So that's why I got it. And then I got these. Oh, this one is the Woodworth classics, and also I am going to be doing a classic collection. It'll probably be my next video after this one, so be on the lookout for that if you like classics or care about them. So then I have these Oxford classics, and these are mostly all like ancient Greece. Oh, these are all ancient Greece books. So I have the Homeric hymns. Somebody told me how to say this, but I can't pronounce it, so y'all just gonna have to read. Daphnis and Chloe, a library of Greek mythology, the Odyssey. And I do have the Iliad, that one's coming in, and then I do have like a Greek mythology like book coming in that I can like annotate and write in. Like, I like those cute little Greek mythology books where it's just like the pictures and like they're very like beautiful to look at, and like Mythos by Stephen Fry, like books like those. I like those, but I want a book that I can like annotate and tab and just write in, because I don't know if I ever want to be an author. Like, I like storytelling, and I like coming up with my own ideas, and I used to write fan fiction, but being an actual author, like I joke about it all the time on Twitter, but this is like satire. Like, I really love satire, so sometimes I'm joking, sometimes I'm not, but it's really hit or miss. But I very much fear becoming a writer, especially being a booktuber. But I really love writing, and if I were to be a writer, I would write mostly romance. I do have a few fantasies, but I don't think I would do fantasy because I feel like fantasy is a bit harder to write, and I don't want to do like the generic plots with like the special girl and like the kingdom is taken away from them, they gotta get it back. I don't want to do those generic plots or anything. So I do have a fantasy idea that I do think is really good. But if I were to be a writer, I would write romance, and then I would write retellings. I would write Greek myth retellings, and I would write fairy tale retellings. So like Little Red Riding Hood, there's not a lot of those. I would write like a Rapunzel retelling. I would focus on anything that's not the Beauty and the Beast, because it's so overdone right now. I would do Greek retellings because there's not many, and even if they are, there's always like overdone of the ones that there are of. So anyways, the next collection I have are the Penguin English Library, and I do have more of these coming in, and I'm probably gonna buy some more because I really like these editions. Oh, I got makeup on this one, but I got Emma, which this is so pretty, Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice, Wuthering Heights, The Picture of Dorian Gray, which is one of my favorite classics, and Northanger Abbey. I got this edition of Hamlet, which my friend Levi got me this. I'll leave their channel link down below. I love Levi. They're like my favorite person in this world. They also got me another classic, but it's somewhere down there. I love Hamlet. It's one of my favorite Shakespeare. I thought this would be a bit bigger, not gonna lie, but I still love this. Once I get used to my Shakespeare language, it's over for y'all. These No Fear classics are really helpful, but once I actually get used to Shakespeare and like learning how to speak Shakespearean, it's over. And speaking of No Fear Shakespeare, I got these editions. So I got 12th Night, which I actually just read this month. This was like one of my first 3 books in June, period. This one is basically about this girl who, She's the Man was a retelling of 12th Night, and I read it, and people, okay, same thing happened with Emma. People were like, oh, it's Emma, Clueless is loosely based off Emma. Oh, She's the Man is loosely based off 12th Night. Oh, The Taming of the Shrew was loosely based off 10 Things I Hate About You. And then I read them, and I'm like, this is the exact same thing. The only difference between Emma and Clueless is that they changed the name from Emma to Sher. With 12th Night, they kept all the names. Olivia, Viola, Sebastian. They kept most of the names. Anyways, I gave this 4 stars. I really liked it. I'm really enjoying Shakespeare. Like, dare I say I'm becoming a Shakespeare girl? I think that I am. And then I have the Tempest. If you know what this is about, can you please tell me? I have been Googling what this book is about. I've been searching high and low, and I do not know what it's about, but I hear it's like, it's highly talked about, so I got it. It was like $5, so. And then I got The Taming of the Shrew, which 10 Things I Hate About You is based off of, and I cannot wait to read this one. And I also got these classic fairy tales, which I am annotating. Like, as I said earlier in the video, I really love fairy tales. I really want to, if I ever become a writer, I want to have like a series of fairy tale retellings, but I would think I would do a series of fairy tale retellings and a series of Greek mythology and then have my romance, but it wouldn't be like Cinder where like each book is connected. They would not have any connection at all. They would literally just be fairy tale retellings. I probably would name it something like creative, but Little Red Riding Hood is one of my favorite retellings. So in this book, they do the original story and then they do the stories adapted by other people, and it's not just about Little Red Riding Hood. It's about, they have like Little Red Riding Hood, the Three Little Pigs. The Three Little Pigs and Little Red Riding Hood are kind of connected to each other. They have like Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Hansel and Gretel, Jack and the Beanstalk, and the Little Mermaid, which I love. Hansel and Gretel, Jack and the Giant Beanstalk, and the Little Mermaid, and Snow White, and Little Red Riding Hood. I wish Rapunzel was in here, but that's okay. I'm almost done with this actually. The last like 100 pages. First of all, oh, I was trying to figure out if I put this tab in or not, because I bought this copy and it was owned by somebody else, so there's already like I did not highlight this, like there are already other highlights and writings in here. 347 to 509 is just criticisms, which I probably won't be reading because I don't really care about that. I just came here for like the fairy tales. But also this fairy tale, it taught me a lot. Like a lot of these fairy tales are oddly sexualized. Like I was not expecting that, but they are. Finley Donovan is killing it. I read this in May, one of the 40 books I read. I love this one. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This one is about Finley Donovan, who is a writer, and one day she's in Panera Bread talking to her publisher. I really don't know what they're called. Publisher, and someone overhears her, and it sounds like she's a hitman. Like her story plot sounds like she's going to kill someone. So someone leaves a note on her car, like, here's my husband, here's my husband's like information, here's my information, kill this man. And so things from there ensues. She has this nanny that, like, I love her and her nanny's dynamic. The nanny is like one of my favorite characters. She has this husband. I really love like a good revenge story, and the husband like cheated on her, and he's married to the lady, like her old nanny who cheated on her with, and the husband is like very infuriating. I don't love his character or like his character really. I think it made me love her character more, because I love when like a character's life is hard and like she still overcomes that and she gets her revenge, or like she gets her good luck from that. And then I got The Shadow of the Gods, which I am currently reading. I'm not like currently reading it. I started in May, came out at the end of May, and then I've been reading a lot of other stuff. So once I'm in my adult fantasy era, I will be getting back to this book. But this book, I'm only on 10 chapters in, so I really can't tell y'all what it's about, but it has dragons. The dragons have not shown up yet. And then I have Karen Slaughter's False Witness. This is an ARC. I got a NetGalley as well. And this one is just about this girl who has to, this woman who has to work on this case with someone from her past. And I don't really know how that correlates. I think I read like 2 chapters. I read the prologue. That's what I read. I have Ace of Spades, which I just read. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. This is a YA dark academia. This is the best thriller out there. Like, I haven't read One of Us Is Lying, but it ain't got nothing on this book. Like, I better see some hype around this book, because the author to this book really raised the bar. I'm not even kidding. This book is queer. Both characters they're not dating each other. It's like Devon, he is in a male-male relationship, and Chiamaka is in a female-female relationship. Really fun. It's so good. It's basically about these 2 characters, and there's this thing called ACE, and it's only targeting them, the only black kids at their school. The only 2 black kids that go there, and they're targeting them. And Chiamaka is supposed to be like this Blair Waldorf girl, but like black, and like I ate that up. You know, I love that. Like, that was everything to me. And this book was just so good. It took it in a route that I wasn't really expecting, but that's because I spent so much time trying to figure out who it was. And because I'm always watching a slasher film and I can always guess, and I'm always like, I hate thinking when I'm reading books, but I can't help but like, oh, it's this person, oh, it's this person, oh, it's this person. So then by the time I get to the end, I feel like a good thriller has you suspect every person, and then by the time you get to the end, it's nobody, and you're trying to figure out how it's nobody and how it still will all make sense. And so good. Okay, I found the other book that Levi got me, and it got me Slaughterhouse-Five. This was in my wish list, my Amazon wish list. I do not remember why, but this is a classic and I will be reading it. Too bad I can't put it on my classic shelf because it doesn't match the aesthetic, but I will be putting it with my fairy tale books. Like, wherever I find somewhere, I'll put it with my other classics, the ones that like I can't put on my classic shelf at the top. I have Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard, which I also read in May. I really did not really enjoy this book. I am highly considering returning it, but I really liked the cover. So I have 30 days. Well, I have a little less than 30 days now at this point, but I have a few days to really think about it. And I'm really doing this hard to put all the books up on my bookshelf. So if it doesn't fit, I'm returning it. I have Supernova Era, which I also just read this month in June. And this one is, the author wrote another book, The Three Body Problem, and I read the first two books in that series and I really liked it. So this one is basically about this star, and it dies, and it has like this, the dust is falling from the star and it's killing everyone over the age of 13. So for the first few pages of the book, I want to say the first like 15%, the parents are teaching the kids under 13 like everything they need to know on how to keep the world going round and just functioning well. And then the parents actually end up dying, and like everyone over 13 dies, and then the kids have to like manage life by themselves. If you've ever seen that episode of Fairly Odd Parents where Timmy wishes the adults away and all the kids are just running amok, just doing random stuff, that is literally what this book is. I gave this book 4 stars. I thought it was fun. It really just reminded me of like all those episodes of like kid shows, and I really like the route that this took, because it really could have taken like the Lord of the Flies route, but it didn't. I really like the Lord of the Flies. I really love when like children are left alone, I guess. But this book, it was so fun because all the kids, like, they're like, oh, let's build a roller coaster that goes into the ground. Let's have candy day. Why do we have to work? Why do we have to, like, the kids literally would like go to work and then they would go to school and they would come home and go to sleep. They were like, why do we have to do that? I want to have fun. And the kids are they have a good point in this book. They really do. And so they have like the Dark Forest, which is the second book in the Three Body Problem trilogy. The third book is supposed to be here tomorrow, but I couldn't wait till tomorrow to film the video because I really need these books on my bookshelves because they're taking up so much space. And then I have the Murderbot Diaries, which I own 2 copies of this because I accidentally bought this in paperback and I didn't realize that. And so I don't know, probably give it away or something. I'll put it in my basement, I guess. But yeah, so these are all out of order. But yeah, I have the Murderbot Diaries, which is basically about this sec unit who hacks his own he hacks himself into not being controlled by the humans, and all he wants to do is watch reality TV, but he has to like do stuff and actually work. And then we have the Three Body Problem, which is, you know, the sequel to the Dark Star, and this one is a First Contact alien book. Like I said, the third book will be coming in tomorrow, which I read the first 2 books. I haven't read the third one. Okay, so I have Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett, and I read Alex Approximately, which I also bought. I bought these all from thrift books. But yeah, I read Alex Approximately and Starry Eye. I really liked. I gave this one 4 stars, this one 4.5 stars. I really like these books. I read these both in May, and I had a fun time reading these. This one was about this girl who meets this guy online, and he lives in California and she's moving to California, but she doesn't want to tell him. They both really like movies, and there's this movie festival at the end of summer that he wants her to come to. She doesn't want to tell him because she doesn't know if he's a creep or not. And then she ends up moving to California with her father, and she ends up working at this museum with this guy who's a jerk, and he turns out to be the friend from online. It's not a spoiler. It's in the description. So, and this one is about this girl who is going camping, and her childhood ex-best friend is there, and she didn't know he would be there, and they kind of have like this banter, and they're always arguing. And then her friend from her friends leave them both because they argued too much. They left them in the middle of the woods, so now they have to find their way back. And like they're like rekindling their friendship, which I really love this. And then I have Rose Madder, which this one goes along with my other 2 editions of the Stephen King Halloween editions. I have Misery and I have The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. I will buy Carrie. Carrie's my all-time favorite Stephen King movie. Is it my favorite Stephen King book? Not even. And then I have Since You've Been Gone, which I read in May. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I literally could not stop thinking about this book. Like, this book was such a fun summer read. And I have Hex, which this was one of the books I wanted when I first joined booktube. Like, I remember everyone talking about this book, and I was watching Jordan Reads, and I realized that she had this book in her I realized she had this book on her bookshelf because she's a horror reader, and I was like, you know what, let me buy this book. Like, let me at least buy this book. This book has been in my cart on Thrift Books, on Amazon, back in book depository days. Like, this book has been all in my carts, but I never took that leap to buy it, basically because it was a hardcover, and I was like, within like the last year, I would like to say that I've gotten out of like only having to buy hardcovers. I have a lot of paperbacks now, so now that I own a lot of paperbacks, I just decided to buy this book because I've really been wanting to read it for a while, and I'm actually have this in my, this is actually in my June TBR, so I do plan on finally reading it. So the next book I have is Automatic Reload, and this is a space sci-fi. I bought this because she's got a panic disorder and he's got a PSD. He's got PTSD, and when I looked up Murderbot, this is one of the books that popped up. So it's supposed to be like a really a funny sci-fi, and I really like sci-fi with this kind of cover, like We Are Bob and We'll Destroy the Planet for Food. Like, I really like these kind of like artsy cute little sci-fi covers, and I haven't really seen mental health talked about a lot in sci-fi yet. I haven't really read that many sci-fi books. I'm still getting into the genre, but I really love like cute little covers like these, and I think that this book is going to be funny, and I really love funny sci-fi books, I find. The next book I have is Can You Keep a Secret, which I did read last month. This one is about this girl who goes on this plane. She has like a lot of secrets. They're really not secrets, they're stupid, but she has a lot of secrets. She goes on this plane. She thinks she's about to die. She's spilling all of her guts out. She's drunk, and she realizes that a few days later that the guy that she told all of her secrets to is actually her boss, and he does small things to patronize her. Like, he'll be like she told her one secret about a coworker. So when they were first met, like at the job, he was like, how do you feel about this coworker? Like, how do you feel about them doing this? Like, he's very patronizing, and I thought that was funny. I kind of want to see more love interests like that, where like they're like patronizing her, like you know, I really like that. And I also have The Magicians, which I don't think anybody knows this, but The Magicians was my favorite show when I first joined booktube. And then when I first joined booktube, I was putting more effort into reading and not watching shows, and I didn't know that this was a book up until like last year, and that's my bad. But yeah, The Magicians was like my all-time favorite show for years. I actually never finished the show. I never watched the last season. I don't think I watched like the last 2 or 3 seasons, depending on how many seasons there are. But I love The Magicians. It's like crazy, it's weird, it's magical, it's dark academia. It's literally everything that I love in one book. So I bought this book. I am not reading this for my dark academia book club, but I might set it like in the future. Like, I have like I have up until October, well, November actually figured out. So once I read this book, it'll be, if I pick this book again, it'll be a reread basically, and I'll have to like really like it for it to be a reread. Last book I have to haul is The Duff. This is a hardcover. I do have the paperback, like, right. I probably will give one to my sister, but I read the hardcover because I love The Duff. Like, I would read this book every single year. I reread The Duff, and I reread To All the Books I Loved Before every single year. And I love these books. And I know that The Duff is problematic, but let me just tell y'all, I don't care. We don't care, okay? I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care. I love this book. I love the movie. The movie and the book are 2 different things, but I like the route that the movie took because It would have been problematic if they took the same route. And I like that but also the movie has its own problematic things. And it's just like, I like them both separately. I like them both together. I love the Duff. I bought this because I want to annotate this, because out of all the rereads, I'm always looking at myself. I'm sorry. In the lens. I'm so beautiful. I can't help it. But I always like reread this book, but I never annotate it. So I bought a hardcover so that I can annotate it, and so I can put it up on my shelves. Maybe it'll go up on my rainbow shelves. I almost forgot to haul the Wolf and the Woodsman. This one was sent to me by Harper, and this one is a retelling, and I forget what the retelling is about, but I did have a NetGalley e-arc, and I have started reading it, and I pretty much enjoyed it so far. Like, the main character was like very interesting, and I really think that the covers are intriguing. The art cover is so beautiful. I am so jealous of anyone who got the art cover. That is it for this haul. Hopefully it's not a hour long and I'm not giving you Disney Channel original movie, but I hope that you like this haul. If you liked it, please leave a stack of books emoji. I always do that for my hauls, and I'll see you guys in my next video.